Okay, let's go ahead and get started. We're kind of getting near the end of the semester here, so let's keep track of all of our dates. So today we're going to work on WordPress. That's just going to be like a standalone class. That's all we're going to do. I realize some people already, I know a few people in here had CGS1821 with me. How many people have used WordPress before, either in my class or just outside? Show hands, hold your hands high. Okay.
Never.
So a few people, not that many. So it's very easy to learn. I'm not going to expect you to learn all kinds of advanced features or anything like that. So we'll do that today. The next class, and this will probably take up 2 classes, we're going to learn how to make our own WordPress, what they call a theme, kind of like a template. And like I mentioned, it requires a very tiny amount of PHP coding, but I'll give you the code to copy and paste. So that'll take up 2 classes.
Do we still use brackets or not?
Today we're not using brackets, but when we make our own, we will. But not today. Yeah. So today you're lucky you don't have to do any coding today. It's gonna be the easiest day you've had in here. And then the plan is to on. So the week of Thanksgiving, technically we don't have off, but I realize a lot of people are, they go to town and stuff, and the attendance is typically pretty low on that date. Is there anybody in here who knows that they won't be in class that Tuesday, even though we technically have class? So most people should be here? Okay. So what I'm planning to do is that on the 26th, we'll do like a review for the exam, and then on the 3rd, we'll do the exam. The reason being is that you'll notice that Tuesday, December 10th is the last day of the semester. If we wait till that day for the final exam, what ends up happening is, how many people are graduating this semester? Probably over half the class. So if anything happens, like a minor hiccup, like you get a flat tire, you just oversleep on the exam, there's no wiggle room. So to me, it's a little bit dangerous for a class full of seniors to try to do the final exam, especially when it's worth 20% of your grade on the absolute last day of the semester. Yeah.
If you aren't there on the 26th, if you can't make it, you'll have the review on the.
It'll be recorded as usual, correct. I'm a little bit apprehensive. It's like there's not a good answer, because it's like, okay, I realize for the most part it's kind of a jerk move of me to to give you an exam right after Thanksgiving, because a lot of people aren't. But to me, it's like the better of the two, because I don't want it. Our grades are due like the next day, and so there's no wiggle room for us. So once that semester ends, it's like I would be grading the exams. If something happened where your exam didn't submit properly, it basically gives us no wiggle room. So as much as I hate doing that, right after Thanksgiving weekend, to me it's kind of the responsible thing to do, that we have to do that. So I apologize ahead of time, but what's that?
Just another day of the
Yeah, that's true.
That's going to be the same as the midterm?
Correct, same format and everything. So what I'll do on the 26th is we'll do a review. Same format and everything. I'll let you know ahead of time. Basically, the way the next few weeks are going to go is that we're going to learn today the basics of just how to use WordPress. Then we'll spend 2 classes on making our own WordPress theme. And then the final assignment is going to be to make your own WordPress theme. And just to let you know ahead of time, to maybe give you some relief, is that you're allowed to use Bootstrap on that final thing. So lots of copy and pasting of components, copy, paste, modify, a lot of that. So you're not going to have to write a lot of code from scratch. So to me, the hardest part of the semester, that's like you're, using Flexbox directly and Grid directly. Those days are over. So now you get to use Bootstrap. And then, so that's going to be your final assignment. And then your final exam is going to be very similar to your final assignment, but it'll be like direction based. So what I'll do is I'll give you an unfinished WordPress theme, and then there'll be like 5 directions. It'll be like, add this thing to it, add this thing to it, add this thing to it. And then that'll be it. So everyone's good on the next 2 weeks of the semester? And then let me just post that as an announcement, just so everyone's clear. In case anyone forgets, you don't have to go all the way back to the course lecture. There's the third, I said, right? And then we have some assignments out there. Normally, I like the assignments to line up with, class days. So I like to normally have the assignments due on Tuesdays because it just makes sense. Unfortunately, because of how the semester's gone with the storm, I've been kind of playing constant catch up, trying to keep all the assignments. And so as you probably already remember, assignment number 6 is due on this Thursday. How many people have at least started that assignment? Okay, make sure to get it done. Rewatch the lecture if needed. Don't forget you have the code, so you can go back. What date was that?
That would have been 29th.
Yeah. So if you go to class examples, and then you can just download the code from that date, okay? You do have a new assignment out there. I don't want to just give you a week because that's, especially with the other assignment being due on Thursday. So what I did is I gave you a little bit more time. But this one, most people should be able to finish in a few minutes. It's just to prove to me that you actually can log into your WordPress account and can do the absolute basics. We're not going to do anything advanced with WordPress today. I just want to get you the basics of like how to create a page, how to create a menu system, how to change your theme. No, correct. And so that's actually where we're going to start today. So let's. Any questions on how the rest of the semester is going to go? Okay. So normally there's, with WordPress, they have a hosted site and you have to pay for it and all this other, or they have free versions, but with limitations and all this. We actually have, because it's open source software, we could just install it on one of our servers here. We have a server on the first floor, a student web server. And it used to be kind of nice because we had actually a domain name set up for it. It was irscstudentweb.org. I don't know how it happened, but it lapsed. I don't know who's in charge. I didn't get any emails. So as of like a week ago, the domain lapsed. So we can still use it. It's just a little hokey. We have to use an IP address. So to save you a little bit of trouble, what I did is under links, I went ahead and posted a link to it. So it's the very top link right here, student web server. And it'll take you to a URL that says not found. So to get onto this server, what you'll have to do is you'll have to type in where student number is, your student number with a capital number. I'm sorry, with the capital number. Capital first letter. No such thing as a capital number. So for example, my student would be, that's my made up student number. So don't type that in directly, put in your own student number. So if your student number is like, type that in. Now for some of you who've already had classes with me before, it might not be cleared out, so it might actually take you to a web page. For most people, what I'm hoping is that it takes you to this. How many, show of hands, how many people see this screen?
Yeah, I got that.
How many people see something else, like an old web page?
Mike, here's
Okay, so it's your web page from, okay. So after this, type in /WordPress and then the number 2, because again, a lot of you have already had classes with me before. At the end of the semester, I'm going to wipe the server clean. It used to be a shared web server, but I think most of the other people that used it have retired since then, so I think I can just delete what I want now. But so it's going to be WordPress and then the number 2, all in lowercase. And then hit enter. So it should take you to a WordPress setup screen. Is there anybody who didn't get that WordPress setup screen? So just to confirm, I'm going to move through this a little bit slow, but because I want to make sure everyone's on the same page. Everyone get the WordPress setup screen?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Okay.
That screen came up.
Okay, so let's go to our settings screen. And again, the primary class we use this with is the CGS1821 class. So there's a lot of references to it because I didn't set up like separate databases for that class and this class. It's all kind of one big database. Okay, so the database name is going to be that class. It's going to be CGS1821. Username is going to be CGS1821. Password is going to be CGS1821. Database host will still be localhost. And then under table prefix, we're going to have to do something kind of interesting here. Because again, a lot of you already have an existing database, like if you've taken classes before. So I want you to do this. Just put the letter Z and then put in your student number. Just so it's different. It just can't, because that's what I usually, bless you, I usually have people put in their student number for the table prefix. But we've already used that, so we can't use that again. So just put in the letter Z and then your own student number. So again, the first three fields are going to be CGS1821. The database host is going to be localhost. That just means the database is running on the same server as the web server. And the table prefix is going to be a lowercase z, or really any letter. And then your full student number. Or else it's probably going to complain existing database, and then it's going to make the class examples kind of tough to go through. And then go ahead and hit submit. And it goes through this, I think they call it like a pre-flight check or something like that. I can't remember the terminology they use. But it'll let you know if it encountered any errors. Did anybody get any weird messages or anything? Quick try again. Oh, it's going to be CGS 1821.
Oh.
And then the password's going to be the same. So I want to leave the settings up here because as soon as I hit OK, I can't really go back. So everyone got like database check OK. Because what it does is basically it gives you a it goes through a checking process. It doesn't actually do anything, but it just makes sure that you can actually connect to the database and the table prefix is good and everything like that. And then it's so everyone's good. I'm okay to hit submit. Okay. What's that?
I took a picture of it.
Okay. And then go ahead and click Run the installation. So for most of this information, we can be kind of boring. Site title, you can put whatever. I'm just going to put IRC. I do want everyone to have the same username and password because what I've had in the past is that people put in their own username and password they like to use, and the next week they forget it, and I'm running around resetting accounts. So I just like everyone, even though it's a weak username and password, just put IRC in all lowercase for the username and password. And then you have to confirm the use of a weak password. You can put in your student email if you want here. For those that don't know, this is always like a good launching point because a lot of people don't know this. So in CGS 1821, I think most people in here learned about like domains and emails and that kind of basic stuff. There's a reserved domain called example.com that in the early days when they were creating the web, or not the web so much, actually the internet, the DNS system, they realized that a lot of people are going to write textbooks, like technology books and documentation and stuff. They didn't want people using real world like Microsoft.com and stuff because some of these companies might go out of business. Some people might buy up the domains and have like malware and other issues. There's a million issues. So what they did is they said, for publication purposes, we're going to have one special reserved domain that nobody can actually use. It's kind of like a dead domain, meaning that you can't register it, you can't use it, you can't do anything with it. But most of these email checking systems are dumb enough to still accept example.com. So if you ever want to use like a throwaway email address, and you can just use like anything at example.com. So I'm going to do that for now. And then let's go ahead and,
Throwaway email address?
what's that?
Should we use a throwaway?
It's up to you. It doesn't actually matter too much because I don't think the password reset system, because it's not attached to a mail server, I don't think it actually works. And then make sure to check discourage search engines from indexing the site. Okay, so make sure you've got these settings. You can put whatever for your site title, IRC, confirm use of weak password, email address, discourage search engines from indexing, and then install. Okay, and then we get to the admin screen and we type in IRC. I'm going to shrink this just a little bit here. So there's some basic concepts in WordPress. So first of all, we've got our admin side, and then we're going to have a user-facing side. So what you can do is, if you, on the top navigation here, if you hover over here, there's Visit Site. If you open that in a new tab, that's what I like to do, then you can just kind of flip back and forth as needed.
What do I put in for the username or email address and password?
Oh, IRC.
Okay.
Yeah, so for the login, that's that login that we just created, so it's going to be IRC.
Okay.
So we're at the site, our admin site, and then what we can do is, if we hover over here, our homepage, it says, oh, do you want to visit the site? Let's go ahead and open that up in a new tab. You'll notice that really the only difference between the two is one has WP admin at the end. So your regular site doesn't have WP admin. This one does have WP admin. Okay, so we've got our admin side and our regular user side. Just a quick bit of history. WordPress started off as a blogging platform. And so a lot of the systems at the time were very complicated to use. There are a whole host of them. If you go to Wikipedia, the general terminology, this is called a content management system, a CMS. Wikipedia has a whole list of them. A lot of them were low quality, difficult to use, and there was just a lot of problems with them. WordPress, even though it was a blogging platform, they made the core platform very small and simple to use. And that made it very popular because people are like, wow, this is a simple to use system. And they kind of also had the timing good because they were like one of the earlier content management systems out there. There's another CMS that I used to teach. I used to do WordPress and Joomla just to give people like more exposure. And people just had such a difficult time with this other software, Joomla. I ended up dropping it, just spending more time on WordPress. But that's one of the things that people like about it. But again, its history as a blogging platform. So you're going to see reference to things like blog posts and blogging related things, link backs, all this other stuff everywhere. Comment systems, recent posts. Okay, you're going to see that everywhere. The basic template, so what WordPress calls a theme, most of these that are installed automatically are very much geared toward blogging. But we're not going to use it as a blogging platform because, again, like I said, because it's such a simple system to use, you can actually set up websites using WordPress. And so that's a very popular thing to do. If I had to guess, I would say that there's probably more, I don't know for sure, so I don't want to make up a stat, but it's very popular as not just a blogging platform, but as a full website system. So one of the first things that we want to do is give it a theme that kind of reflects that. All these built-in themes, so what they do is like a new theme every year or so. You can see they skip 2018. But most of these generally are either set up for blogs, or have you seen these like single page websites where you kind of scroll and then it's like a panel or a pane, and then that's not really the type of site we're going to use. So let's go to add new theme. So again, I'm on the admin side. I'm under appearance, and then themes, and then let's go ahead and add new theme. Now there's a lot of free or inexpensive themes out there, or like free to use, but for non-commercial purposes. The problem with WordPress themes is that they're of varying quality. For anybody who's used this, and how many people who've used WordPress before have you run into a really low quality theme that was just like tough to use and you got errors and stuff like that? Anybody? Okay, that's actually not that uncommon of a thing, is to just have low quality themes, and you have to do a lot of experimentation and so on. Usually you'll find a couple that are pretty good, and I don't want to get into that right now. So the stuff officially supported by WordPress, it can be a little bit plain and generic, but it always works. So let's go ahead and do that. There's a specific theme, one of their older themes, it's called 2013. So again, I went to under themes, install, and then typed in the full words 2013. This is an older theme, but this is kind of more the style that we're used to dealing with, where we've got some sort of banner on the top, some top navigation, and some main site content. So this works really well for class examples. And then go ahead and click install. And then activate. So install and then activate. Now if we go back over to our user-facing side of the site, the other tab, and we hit refresh, we can see we've got a site here. Again, you can see lots of generic stuff. They've got like some weird background on the banner. It's very much set up for a blogging platform still, because we've got like recent posts and stuff like that. But this theme, this 2013, is generic enough that we can modify it to where that's not necessarily the case. Okay, so that's the look and feel of your site. That's what I call a template. They call a theme. And that's how you install a theme. Now, before we even get into creating any content, let's look at how we can customize this theme. So under Appearance, go to Customize. They have all these things that they call widgets. All these things with the little blue, is that a pencil, I guess?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be.
Okay. For the type of site that we're going to do as a regular website, these aren't super useful because we're not doing a blogging platform. The idea that we're going to do is like a small business, like a restaurant or maybe a comic book store selling comics, that sort of stuff. I like to use local business because once you get out of here, a good deal of the customers you're going to have are small businesses looking to have websites, especially if you're doing local work like this. So these make sense in the context of a blogging platform, but they don't really make sense here. So let's go ahead and get rid of these. So what we can do is, there's a couple different ways. What you can do, this might be the easiest way, is just to click each pencil and then click remove. And then just go ahead and remove all of these at the bottom, because things like comments on a business website probably don't make sense. Probably more of a liability than anything. So then you have to monitor comments all day. And we'll leave stuff at the top because we probably want to have our information on exactly what the site is. So we're getting there. We've got a lot of these references to blogging things gone at the bottom. But now we still got our homepage set up as like a blogging system, as a post system. So let's close this out here. Let's go ahead and click close. I don't think we made any changes that.
Should we hit publish first?
Hold on, did we lose them? Yeah, I kept them. Okay, let's go through that again. Yeah, we do. Okay, so we'll go to widgets. Get rid of them all. And then publish, and then you can navigate away from it. So now if I refresh, okay, there we go, it's all gone. And then we can click the X to navigate back to the main admin screen. Okay, so everyone removed all the widgets at the bottom. You're back at your main admin screen. If we go back over here, we refresh, we can see those extra widgets are gone. We've got something kind of resembling navigation up here. Your real site won't have this bar on the top. The only reason that we have this is because we're logged into the site. So had we not been logged in, like a regular customer is going to your site, they don't see this on the top. This is just kind of a convenience navigation for us. So let's get into pages. So just like our pages on our website, we have pages. We're not going to worry too much about posts because we're just not going to use them, so we can ignore that. If you had a blog-based site, you could have posts. So we'll go to pages, all pages. And right now we don't really have much there. So let's start off by just adding a new page. And we'll just use lorem ipsum text for everything. You can do multiple paragraphs if you want. I'm just going to do one paragraph. Close this out. So the title, we'll just call it home. And then the content will be lorem ipsum. I don't like how they changed this. They changed the editor. It's a little bit confusing when you don't see like borders to the content that clearly. I don't think it's a good user interface, but most of you should be able to, if you click around enough, you can click here and you'll see that this is the title. This is the actual content. And that's enough. We can just click publish. If we go back here and refresh our page, we see our home page that we just added. But notice that our main landing page, so this is kind of a quick detour. When you set up a web server, obviously you wouldn't tell people to go to this site, like tilde, and then WordPress 2. What you would do is you'd set up this as the site root or set up a redirect. So think about this as like this right here as the root of our site. When people go to the root of your site, right now, even though we have a home page, it still takes you to these blog postings. So what we have to do is we have to set, okay, we want a static front page. We don't want a bunch of blog postings. We just want a regular page. So if we go back to the admin settings, under appearance and then customize, and then it's under homepage settings. So it's under appearance, customize. Now we're at homepage settings. So go ahead and click that. And then the homepage is going to display, rather than just your latest blog posts, let's go ahead and set it to that page we just called home. The content's going to be very generic. Don't get too involved in that. It's more just about the mechanics of how to use WordPress for right now.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, no coding. Today's an easy day.
Do you change the post page or no?
Um,
Post page.
no, because I don't think we're gonna. I mean, you can. I don't know if it'll affect anything. I'm just gonna leave it as select. So just do homepage, because it looked like it did have some sort of effect. Yeah, so we'll just leave it as okay. So it's gonna be set to static page, homepage home. Publish that. And then now when we go to our site, it's going to take us to this home page.
Oh, cool.
Again, our site's going to be very generic. There's just going to be a lot of lorem ipsum. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and just create some more pages just to fill out the content. Let's go to pages, add new page, and let's say, for example, I always like to use like a car mechanic or car like auto repair, something like that. So let's say this will be the page for the services that we offer.
Do you need a new page for that?
Correct, yeah. So this is going to be under pages, new page. Publish that. And then we'll create two more pages. So add new. And let's say we offer tire rotation and oil changes. So we'll do tire rotation. Publish tire rotation. Add new page. And so now if we go to all pages, these are the pages we should have. We should have our home page. We're going to get rid of some of these extra pages like privacy policy and sample page, but the basic pages is going to be home, services, oil changes, and tire rotations. And don't worry about filling those out too much right now. It's just about the mechanics of how to use WordPress. So under pages, all pages, we don't really care about the privacy policy right now for this class. It's probably good to have one, but let's go ahead and just trash it. And then the sample page, let's go ahead and trash that as well. So now if we go back to our site, we've got all of our pages that we just created. Now our site, we're gonna keep to a simple menu system. We're just gonna have one top navigation. But in a real world site, you might get into multiple menus, and so what I call navigation, they call menus. But we'll keep our life simple. But you can see at the very least, this is kind of scattered around. It's like you get home, oil changes, services, tire rotation. To me, I want to organize that a little bit. I probably want to create a submenu, have home, and then services. And when I hover over services, be able to access oil changes and tire rotations. Okay, so right now this is our just to do a quick review, here's where we are. So we went through the installation of WordPress. That gave us the admin page. We set up our 2013 theme. We got rid of extra widgets that we didn't need. We created a home page and then went through and then set the front page, that what you see when you actually land on the site. We changed it from blog postings to a static page, and we set that static page to home. We created a few new pages, oil changes, services, tire rotation. We got rid of some extra pages that were just installed by default. And that's essentially where we are right now.
I'm thinking you trashed the sample page out on the pages menu, right?
Correct, yeah.
On the pricing also.
So to actually make adjustments to this menu system up here, we have to go under Appearance and then Menus. So I'm back at the Admin tab. So Appearance and Menus. And then don't forget, some of you might have accidentally closed your user-facing page. To get back to that, all you have to do is hover over your site name. In this case, I called it IRC, and then just open it as a new tab. And you'll notice really the only difference is that the other page has WP admin at the end. This one does not. So you can just take this other page if you wanted to go to your user-facing page, just everything after WP admin, get rid of that, and then that's your user-facing page. Okay. So here's our menu system. I'm sorry, we're still under pages. So go to Appearance, and then Menus. So here's our menu system. For some reason, it puts 2 home pages. We can just get rid of one. I don't think it actually matters which. Let's just remove one of them. And so by default, I think it just generates the content, but here we're saying that we want to have a specific menu structure. So let's go ahead and click Create Menu. And we'll just leave, since we're only going to have one menu, menu 1 is fine. Now this is pretty simple. Literally to move things around, we just drag and drop.
That's awesome.
So let's put services here. Now if we want to make a submenu, it's very, very simple. All we have to do is click, in this case, oil changes, drag it over a little bit, and you can see here, put a little note that it's a sub item. Same thing here. With Joomla, one of the reasons that I stopped teaching it is because it was like this complex system of, I don't even know how to describe it. It was like you had to create a parent menu, and then that would take you to a screen, and on a new screen you'd have to create its children. It was just, it's very structured, but a lot of people found it confusing and maybe a little bit not very user-friendly, I guess would be the word. So now we've got our home, services, and then we dragged inward our 2 sub-items.
Okay, how'd you make oil changes and tire rotation sub?
So all you have to do is normally they're,
Oh, just drag.
yeah. So normally they're probably all flush lined up like this. You just drag it over. Be careful not to drag it over too much because then you'll make it a sub-item of that thing too. So get it to line up like this.
Oh, it's the same size.
Now there's 2 little options on here. Because we're going to have such a small site, we want to automatically add new pages to this menu and then make this our navigation menu. Hopefully you can see that on a large site like IRSC with hundreds of pages, that's probably not practical. You want to break up your navigation systems and menus a little bit more. But because our site's going to be so simple, it's going to be like a 5 or 10 page site. This is probably acceptable. You just want everyone to be able to get to all your pages just from your main navigation. Okay, so go ahead and click Save. We can refresh. Now we see here Home. And then when we go over to Services, we've got our drop-down menus. So we can go to tire rotation and so on. So we have time to do one more thing. You might want to add images. And so I don't think that's actually a part of the assignment, but I imagine it's something that most people want to do.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it is. Okay. Oh, so let's go to images. Let's just go to, normally you want to be mindful of like image copyrights and stuff, but I think for your assignment, I don't think anybody's going to notice. So let's look up oil can. So we'll go to Google Images. Any one of these should be fine, just some sort of generic. That one's probably, these are pretty high resolution. So just pick an image, save it. And then the same thing for tire rotation, just do like car tire. This one's good. Save image as. And then I'll probably go in here and rename them so they're just a little bit. I don't remember what this one was. So this one was tires. So we've got a couple of images. We should be done with our menu, so we can navigate out of there. So now let's go to our couple of pages that we're working with that had those items. So we'll go to all pages. And I guess we'll start off with oil changes. So let's go ahead and click edit for oil changes. So we're under all pages. So pages, all pages, oil changes, edit. They always change it on me. Hold on. I think it's changed since the last time you used WordPress. Insert an image. Once I see it, I know it'll be something really simple. Here we go. Okay. Sorry, they change the user interfaces on these things all the time. It's always hard to find. So under here, under this plus button up here, you can click that. And then image. And then we can go ahead and click upload. And so which page were we working on here? Oil changes. So I'll put this here. Most likely we'll probably have to do some resizing. Maybe not. It did a pretty good job. I don't know. These the resizing handles. Okay. Yeah, let's see if we can move this to the top. There we go. We could probably wrap the text around if we wanted to, but whatever. I don't want to spend too much time on the detail. This is just more about the structure on how to use WordPress. And then do the same thing for tire rotation. So I'll go through that process one more time. Oops. Good.
How'd you move the oil key?
Oh, sorry. So if you hover over it, there should be an up and down arrow.
Oh,
And if you just click that once, you don't have to click and drag, just click it once. It'll move it around. So we're going to do all pages. Oops. Go ahead and click update. So all pages. edit tire rotation, and then go through that same process again. So we'll go ahead and we're going to put it here, hit plus, image, upload, tires. You can resize as needed. And then update. Probably inconsistent image sizes, but I don't want to spend too much class time on that. So you could resize it as you want to keep your image sizes consistent. Probably a good idea, but doesn't really matter for class right now. Okay, so that covers most of your assignment. Pretty simple system to use. So your assignment's going to be built upon examples done in class. So you must have at least 4 base menu items. Right now, your site has 2. You've got home and services. So add a couple more things. At least 2 of those must have submenus. Right now, only services has submenus. So you got another thing. So a typical layout, if you could, by the way, you don't have to use this car repair theme, like, or setup, or, you know what I mean? Like, you can, if you want, you can use a restaurant if you are really into, I don't know, some hobby of some sort that, you know, you could create a store that's selling those items. Try to stick to that general theme, though, of like a small business. Try not to get into, I've seen somebody try to recreate a social media site before, and it just didn't work out that well. So try to stick to the general theme of like a small business. I've seen somebody in the past that what they did was, even though it wasn't a business, it was like different video games they liked. And so each top level menu was like the video game system or the decade. I can't remember how they organized it. And then you'd do a drop down, and then it would show the individual games. So you get the basic idea. I'll go over this in a second. And then at least 4 pages must contain images. Right now you have 2, so do that 2 more times. The theme must be this theme. The reason being is because in the past I've been lenient and let other people choose themes, and even people who've assured me that they've worked with this theme in the past, and then the assignment does not end up working, and I'm helping them debug errors in the actual theme, and then they go to delete thing, and it's just for now let's just stick to this 2013 theme.
So we need to make two more base menu items, and those need to have sub-menus?
Correct, yeah. And I'll show you how to do custom HTML in a second here. Okay, so 2 things that I still need to show you. Changing the default header image. That's really, really easy to do. So under our admin page, go to Appearance, and then Customize. And header image. They give you the sizing that you need, so 1600 pixels by 230 pixels if you want to add your own custom. I'm going to be kind of lenient. I don't really care that much. I mean, I think for a lot of people, if you have the time, you would, but I know it's the end of the semester. A lot of you are pressed for time. You don't have time to be making all kinds of banner images. So just change it to something else. When you submit the assignment, I just don't want it to be this. So I just prove to me that you know how to change it. But you can upload a custom, if you go to add new image, and it's got the right width and height, you can add that as the background, which a lot of people do, but I realized it's the end of the semester, a lot of you are pressed for time, but that's how you do it. You just go to add new image and just upload that. So that's pretty straightforward. Again, that was under Appearance, Customize, header image. Now let me show you how to add some custom HTML. So one of the things that we have right here, the situation that we have, is that right now I'm stuck to whatever this editor gives me, and it's kind of limited. Notice it's got a few things that's decent, but it's somewhat limited. So we can actually do is, if we click over here, let's maybe do this with our image. So with our image, let's click it and let's go to more options. And then we can edit as HTML. Now, if I wanted to make some text float around an image, does anybody remember what we can use? Starts with an F. Float. Yeah, so let's take this and let's float it left. So we'll take figure, style equals float left. Let's make sure that actually worked. I think it's not going to like that. Let's not use that as an example. Let's get rid of that. It's already complaining. It used to be that it would let you edit for the whole thing, not one block at a time. Let's see if we can do that up here. Ah, okay, sorry. So let's go up here. So go up here under see if it works here. Custom HTML. No, it just made this one HTML. Let's just go over to our paragraph. Let's keep life simple. And do edit as HTML. Notice that it's using a paragraph tag. And say, for example, we wanted this to be strong. All we'd have to do is type in strong. We can actually insert our own HTML in here. And so now if we go back to not viewing it as HTML, we go back to edit visually. Same thing here. Let's just go back to edit visually. Oh, preview. Okay. Notice that that one word that we made as strong, it rendered it as strong. So it just uses plain old HTML. You can use CSS in here and everything, but I don't want to make this overly complicated because this I just want to give you the basics for now. In CGS1821, anybody who had this, we do more stuff like plugins and stuff like that and inserting Google Maps, but I think everyone in here is smart enough to, once you leave the class, to go through and do that part on your own. The part I want you to learn starting next class is actually how to build your own theme rather than having to rely on somebody else. Okay, so those are the basic things that you need to do for the assignment. So recapping that, you can go back, delete your pages, and start over with a new like setup. You don't have to use a car repair shop. You can, again, some people like to do stuff with video games or maybe a restaurant or, you know, whatever your interest is. But try to keep it to something that categorizes and fits this general setup well. Don't try to do like a social media site. Again, I've seen people do that and it just didn't work out well. Make sure to use that 2013 theme. I know it's a little bit boring, but it works correctly. And it works well for this type of assignment, so just stick to that. Even if you find something else that still has that basic structure, it's always tough to know with WordPress themes if they're actually going to be high quality, if they're not going to have all kinds of bugs in them. Set up your pages and base menu items like we talked about. At least 4 pages need images. Go to some effort to try to, I know I was kind of quick and didn't even really, the images weren't really resized very well, but go through and spend a little bit of time on your site. Change the default header image. and the custom HTML, which we talked about. And then for your, when you submit it, all I need is just your page link. Okay? Just send me that, and from there I can grade it. I've had people in the past, maybe they were absent from class or something, they try to like zip up their whole site or send me screenshots of their whole site and all kinds of different things. All I need is just this link. So when you go to submit, just under this comments area, just paste that, and that's good enough. Okay. So like I said, I think most people in here should be okay with this. I guess I lied. I said no coding. There's a little bit of coding, but like, I don't know if that counts. That's such a basic amount of coding. I don't know if it counts. Yeah. Okay. I think we can get out of here a few minutes early. Any questions on that assignment?
No.
Okay. So the one thing is, do make sure that, and don't forget it's due on a weird date. It's due on a Friday. Yeah. So normally, like I said, I like to have these things line up on Tuesdays, but just keep that in mind. This other assignment is due, I want to say this Thursday. Yeah, so don't forget about that. Email me if it's like Thursday afternoon and you don't think you're going to finish. Email me then. Don't just turn it in on Sunday and hope I don't notice, okay?
You tell noticed.
Yeah. And you had your hand up? You had a question, or were you stretching? Okay.
He was stretching.
All right, if there's no questions, just email me if you run into problems, but otherwise I'll see everybody next week.